Good morning, and thank you for joining us for today's call with LNI's Deputy Secretary for Workforce Development, Sheila Ireland. I'm Teresa, Deputy Communications Director for LNI. Before we get started with opening remarks, I'd like to provide you with a few quick reminders about today's virtual media briefing. The purpose of today's briefing is to provide your readers, viewers, and listeners with information and details about the Near Completers program and the benefits of Governor Tom Wolf's Back to Work PA plan. For questions on this topic, please use the blue chat icon located in the lower right-hand side of your screen to submit your name and media outlet. When you are next in the queue, you will receive a message that reads, "The host will ask you to unmute." Please click that button. Then I will announce your name and media outlet, and you may ask your question live at that time. In the interest of time, you'll be permitted to ask one question, but time permitting, we'll open up the call for a second round of questions on today's topics of the Near Completers program and Back to Work PA. You may submit any additional follow-up questions or general agency-related questions to the press resource account, and we'll address them after the call. Following the call, we'll provide participating media outlets with a link to the recording. For your awareness, this call is being recorded. If you do not consent to being recorded, please hang up now. And any reporters wishing to record this briefing may do so now. Let's get started with comments from Deputy Secretary for Workforce Development, Sheila Ireland. Deputy Secretary?
Thank you, Teresa. Good morning. I am LNI's Deputy Secretary for Workforce Development, Sheila Ireland. Thank you for joining me today. As you know, it's been a little over a year since the COVID-19 virus was declared a global pandemic, and it's changed our lives, our economy, and our workforce in unprecedented ways. Our economy and the world of work have fundamentally shifted, and many of the jobs that were lost early in the pandemic have returned, but many have been impacted by rapid technology adoption. For Pennsylvania to continue to be competitive in this new economy, we must have a workforce development system that can meet these new challenges while effectively utilizing our resources. We've reached a pivotal moment in workforce development, and Pennsylvania's workers now, more than ever, need training opportunities to successfully compete in a post-pandemic economy. Governor Tom Wolf understands this, which is why he created this forward-thinking Back to Work PA plan to support our workers and our workforce and invigorate our economy. One of the major components of the governor's plan is to make the strategic investments that will develop a stronger and more diverse workforce across Pennsylvania. Back to Work PA builds on recommendations from the Keystone Economic Development and Workforce Command Center that addresses many of the barriers to employment that our workforce faces. The governor's plan invests in our workforce by supporting and developing talent for high-demand occupations and focusing on high-quality, well-paying jobs that will lead to family-sustaining careers. Specifically, Back to Work will invest in rapid reskilling, upskilling, and skills transfer to connect unemployed Pennsylvanians to new career opportunities. It will invest in programs that enhance digital literacy skills and work to close the digital divide so that Pennsylvania workers have the internet access and digital skills that they need to compete in today's labor market. In support of this effort, LNI recently announced the availability of $4.5 million in our digital literacy and workforce development grants that will support local programs across Pennsylvania. Back to Work PA will also expand the highly successful and in-demand registered apprenticeship programs to include non-traditional occupations like healthcare, childcare, information technology, and, of course, manufacturing. Apprenticeship helps businesses get the skilled workers they need, while those same workers earn a steady, family-sustaining wage while they build their new careers. Back to Work PA will also expand on education and training opportunities that support middle skills jobs and the skilled trades. It will transform our workforce development services by bringing individualized career coaching to our service delivery model and enhanced wraparound supports to address barriers to employment. And it will support child care stabilization by increasing child care subsidies, assisting employers seeking to expand or develop their on-site child care, assisting child care centers to expand services during non-traditional work hours, and eliminating child care deserts across Pennsylvania. And lastly, it will support innovative programs that help re-entering citizens obtain the credentials and access to employment opportunities. L&I fully supports the governor's Back to Work PA plan. And with that said, given the importance of building innovative approaches to getting Pennsylvania workers the skills they need to attach to work in this new economy, I'm pleased to announce that L&I is now accepting applications for the Near Completers pilot program. Earlier this month, our acting secretary, Jennifer Barrier, announced the Near Completers program while visiting Lehigh Carbon Community College in the Lehigh Valley. For the Near Completers program, approximately $7 million in federal funds will be awarded to approved local workforce development boards who apply for this grant. That grant application is now open and available online at www.dli.pa.gov. I strongly encourage local workforce development boards to apply for this funding. This Near Completers program is an example of the strategic investments we must make in Pennsylvania's workers to set them up for success in a post-pandemic economy. More than 1 million Pennsylvanians, about 40% of college undergraduates, have some post-secondary credit but have not completed their degree. Many of these individuals are very close to graduation with a degree or obtaining a valuable credential that will open doors to specific careers. And as you know, there are many reasons why people do not complete their certifications or degrees. Typically, life gets in the way. But we understand. And if you are one of these near completers, we want you to know that the time and effort you invested in your education or training is valuable. Governor Wolf proposes a targeted investment to identify, reach, and provide these near completers with financial coaching, access to federal Pell Grants and state grants, and other supports necessary to address the challenges that led to their pausing their education. We want them to complete their degrees, gain industry-recognized credentials, and gain sustainable employment. L&I's new program will help Pennsylvanians build on the credits they've already earned to obtain a degree or certificate they need to get in-demand jobs. And it will allow them to go from being excluded from consideration for a job opportunity because you were a few credits shy of a degree or a certification to having the credentials you need to immediately enter the job market. This program doesn't just help these specific job seekers, it helps all of us. People in high priority occupations are workers that each and every one of us relies on. People like dental hygienists, registered nurses, nursing assistants, police officers, paramedics, truck drivers, maintenance workers. We depend on them all. And the Near Completers pilot program will be completed, or will be created, I should say, in 3 separate physical locations: urban, suburban, and rural. These programs are supposed to be beginning operation this fall and will specifically support job seekers who've been displaced from employment due to the pandemic. To qualify, job seekers must also have been making less than $15 an hour before becoming unemployed. Each near completer program will connect job seekers with prior but incomplete learning experiences and skills to institutes of higher education, community agencies, and employers that will help them rapidly gain the credentials they need to qualify for work in high priority occupations. This new Near Completers program is a great example of how Governor Wolf's Back to Work PA plan will make smart investments in the training and workforce development assistance programs that will build brighter futures for Pennsylvania workers and their families. I thank you again for joining us to learn about this exciting new grant opportunity, and I will now take your questions. Back to you, Teresa.
Thank you so much for providing those important program details, Deputy Secretary Ireland. Now we're moving into the Q&A portion of today's call, which is focused on providing information and details regarding the Near Completers program. If you have questions, please submit your name and media outlet in the chat box. I will then send you a message asking you to mute your audio, and you will be able to ask your question live at that time. We will pause for a moment and wait for some questions to roll. Okay, looks like our first question today is going to be from Hayden Littman. from PBS 39.
Hey, thank you very much. I just want to make sure I didn't miss it. Do we know how many Pennsylvanians might be able to access these funds? And can you give me some examples of programs that they might be able to use through this grant funding?
So is the question how many grant opportunities will there be, or how many grant opportunities may be, how many Pennsylvanians will be served? Can you unmute him?
I'm sorry, I was muted there. I'd like
Oh,
to know how
sorry.
many, that's all right. I would like to know how many Pennsylvanians might be able to access this funding for sure. And I would like to know about examples of programs that might be part of this funding.
Okay, so there are 3 pilots, and what we're hoping to serve is 300 Pennsylvanians with this demonstration project. Part of what we're hoping to do is to rapidly connect. And so we've been working with institutions of higher education, for years to provide education and job training. But the uniqueness of this particular program is that it has a span of 16 weeks. So within the focus of one semester, we hope to get people to either their degree or their credential. The focus is on high priority occupations because we're interested in occupations that pay family sustaining wages and that have a bright outlook for occupations. And what that means specifically is that they're growing. And so we are very interested in understanding from the Institutes of Higher Education, because what we understand is employment is specific to a locale. So the person who has the pilot opportunity will make that determination around what are the emerging and growing occupations in their footprint and what they can support with their specific educational strategy. So for instance, if you were, I guess, in Philadelphia, the focus will clearly be either IT or higher education or attachment to healthcare, because those are our burgeoning occupations in Philly. Did that help answer your question?
Peyton, if you have any additional follow-ups, just please put a message in the chat box and we'll come back to you. Oh, it looks like you're on mute. Okay. Did that answer your
That was
question?
great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Next, Michelle Drapack from ABC 27. You have the floor.
I had a similar question. How exactly will the grants be used? Do they go directly to individuals or do they go to workforce development programs? And do you have a deadline for the applications?
So they're partnerships with higher education institutions, right? So these are your colleges, community colleges who do the workforce development training. And so if you are familiar with the term last dollar support, so a student would apply for either a Pell Grant or whatever financial aid they could get. We intend to fill the gap in the cost of that performance with this grant program, also to provide tuition, books, and fees, supportive services, because we know people need support to rapidly attach to these credentials as well. And then the application deadline for this particular offering is April 24th.
Thank you.
It looks like we are now entering our second round of questions, so I encourage any reporters on the line that have questions for Deputy Secretary Ireland to go ahead and submit them at this time, and any that have follow-ups, quick questions, can submit those as well. We'll pause here just for a moment and see if any come in. Okay. Michaela Drapack from ABC 27, I believe you have a follow-up.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to clarify. So individuals should not apply for these grants, correct?
Right, correct.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, do we have any additional questions for the Deputy Secretary? All right, it looks like we have none. Deputy Secretary Ireland, do you have any final thoughts or closing comments?
No, I don't, Teresa.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much for joining us today. That's all the time we have. Please email our communications office with any additional questions. Thank you so much and stay well.